you're seeing it first on my screen. The Cowboys have traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. I don't know exactly which first-round picks those are, but welcome to rebuilding the Green Bay Packers with Micah Parsons. All right, here we are in real time, week 1, Green Bay versus the Detroit Lions. The Packers just traded for Micah Parsons. This is going to be my first video. It has to be. So what's going to happen right now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to see what we can do to try to get Micah Parsons' number as close to possible. I don't necessarily know what number it is that he would have worn in college, so I don't know if there is a number that he would go for. As of right now, Madden has him wearing Kenny Clark's 97. So Micah Parsons did wear number 11 when he was at Penn State. So we don't have number 11. Unfortunately, that is for Jaden Reed. I mean, I can give him something cool. I can give him 0. I don't think the Packers will actually let him take 0. I don't necessarily know what other number he would necessarily take. So as of right now, I think I'm going to give him 0 because I think that makes the most sense. I don't see him wearing a number in the 90s. I definitely don't see him wearing a middle tier number. I do see him sticking with anywhere from 0 to 19. And one of the main options that fits the best is number 0. Micah Parsons is officially a Green Bay Packer. It was officially just broken about half an hour ago at the time of me seeing this and starting to record. I definitely wasn't prepared for it. I was getting ready to record another video, but this seems to be as if a golden opportunity to go ahead and start recording something to start my YouTube career out with. We are going to just keep our normal Madden draft classes until at least later in the year when we get something quite better from the actual community. So I will see you guys at the halfway mark, and we'll kind of see what the team looks like and how well Micah is doing as a Green Bay Packer in his first year in Green Bay. All right, so at the halfway mark in 2025, the Green Bay Packers are 4-2. Micah Parsons is the best player on the team by far. We are headed into Pittsburgh to play Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I don't see Micah Parsons anywhere here on the top performers list. Let's actually dive in here. Jordan Love's not really necessarily having a great year here. He's throwing for 1,200 yards and 4 interceptions. Let's take a look at defense. Micah Parsons, 8 tackles for loss. He is leading the team. He is also leading the team in sacks. Wow, Micah Parsons is making a difference known quickly here in Green Bay. Josh Jacobs is leading the league here in rushing yards. In real life, the Packers will have to move around a lot of different players to try to figure out a cap situation for the rest of the team, especially with Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson wanting to maybe come back, or maybe the Packers want to move on. Quay Walker still hasn't reached an extension deal. Zach Tom already got his 4-year extension, so I'm manually going to put that in here. We are getting some trade offers for Christian Watson. I don't necessarily believe we really need anything right now. I mean, we could always use another corner from the Rams here from Emmanuel Forbes, but tight end we don't need. Edge we definitely don't need. We could welcome back A.J. Dillon, but I don't necessarily see that happening, especially with the current running back room that we have. I am, now that we're here, going to move Lucas Van Ness to defensive tackle, just so that way he can kind of hold the spot open for the future. So that way he's getting some reps, he's getting involved, and we don't have a 71 Carl Brooks in the hole. I know he is fantastic in real life. I don't see him being a star caliber player quite yet, but eventually he will get there. And while we're here, we'll move Jordan Morgan over to our right guard, former first-round pick out of the University of Arizona. Bear down Cats. And our offensive line is all fixed. It looks like Tucker Kraft is injured for 4 more weeks. So it looks like he got a dislocated knee. Interesting. Not kind of what we're hoping for our star tight end. Matthew Golden's actually moving up to the wide receiver number 2 on the team. And in real life, unfortunately, Jaden Reed is dealing with a Jones fracture. We aren't sure if he's necessarily going to play, but it does look like he is going to try to push through it. I also think we might move on from Quay Walker. I know the Packers probably in real life won't let that happen, but we just don't have the salary cap with the Micah Parsons and Zach Tom extensions and trades here. Man, I don't know. I honestly think we just take more depth in D tackles, get a secondary position there behind Lucas Van Ness, especially since his contract is expiring here. Christian Watson joins the 49ers as a trade is finalized. Honestly, I don't see the Packers in real life bringing back Christian Watson and or Romeo Dobbs. They honestly could move in either direction. All right, so Givens will play over Lucas Van Ness, which means Lucas Van Ness's time here in Green Bay will come to an end. I do expect Tucker Kraft to be back. I do want to take one check here just to see final kind of wants. We don't really have a lot of cap room for any of these guys. If Quay wants to come back for that amount, I mean, yeah, I'll take him back. We're just not going to have any money for anyone else. And right now, we just traded Christian Watson for Kevin Givens. Givens' contract is up from the 49ers, so is Christian Watson. So it's basically just like a, hey, you fill a hole for us that we kind of need at this exact moment, and we'll kind of go what we'll try to do the best we can, is what I'm trying to get at there. All right, so we are going to play the Green Bay Packers versus Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 8. This is a game that I've been waiting for since Aaron left with the Jets 3 years ago, and it's finally happening. This is a game in real life that I will not miss for anything. Sunday Night Football, Packers, Steelers, Super Bowl 45 rematch, but this time we got Micah frickin' Parsons. I just spent the last 3 hours recording YouTube videos to post and edit, and as I take a break, I see Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. So, made my first short, posted that out there, and we are now immediately back in the office here recording for this rebuild. When I get into the red zone, I really start to crumble. Of course, it's a pass. And I don't know who got the hit. It was Micah frickin' Parsons on Aaron Rodgers. We're going to show that we're bringing the heat, but I'm actually going to drop back into coverage. Follow DK across the way. Micah Parsons with another hit on Aaron Rodgers. All right, so we'll jump to the playoffs here. We'll see if we end up making it our first year. We'll go over Micah Parsons' stats and kind of the rest of the team, kind of see what happens, rebuild the team in the offseason, although we have absolutely no money. So we did make it to the playoffs, 9-8. I'm assuming we are the 7 seed. No, actually, we're the 4 seed. We won the division as... Wow, we won the division as 9-8, tying with the Detroit Lions. And that is strange. Jordan Love, 35 for 14. Josh Jacobs has been injured for the last 6 games, it looks like there. So Jordan Love and Marshawn Lloyd were kind of carrying the team in runs there. Almost 3 1,000-yard receivers between Reed, Dobbs, and Golden. 10 touchdowns for the rookie. Honestly, that is fantastic, and we'll take that every single year. Team in total tackles is Edgerrin Cooper, Micah Parsons with 17 TFLs, and leads the team in 9.5 sacks, right in front of Rashawn Gary, who's at 8. We'll go ahead and skip the wild card game here, see what we've got. Do we move on or do we go home? It looks like we are going home. The first year with Micah Parsons apparently doesn't go too well, as we will go ahead and move on to the NFL draft. We will see who wins the Super Bowl first. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Ravens. It's not, actually. It's the Patriots. Drake May? Okay. Drake May's taking the Patriots to the Super Bowl this year. Matthew Golden, Offensive Rookie of the Year. And no other Packers in the winning awards there. So that should push up Matthew Golden to Superstar, which it does. We do have a lot of upgrade points here. I usually tend to save those for the end of the year when I can kind of remember, just so that way it doesn't seem like they're progressing throughout the year and they do a lot of work in the off season. Aaron Rodgers and Cameron Hayward are both retiring, along with Von Miller, Matthew Stafford, Ronnie Stanley, Trent Williams, and the Patriots are your Super Bowl champions. Drake May had himself an incredible year. I do really want to bring back Daniel Whelan, just because he has been by far the best punter that the Packers have had in a very long time. So he can come back and stay. He obviously doesn't want a lot of money. Unfortunately, we are going to cut ties with Romeo Dobbs and Lucas Van Ness. Just because of cap issues, we don't have the money to really bring them back. So they will be cap casualties. So that just leaves us with a second this year and next year. So I don't honestly expect anything crazy. I'm going to simulate the draft since we don't have those first round draft picks. That's usually something that I play around with a lot. We do end up finding a 73 overall running back in the second round and a 72 overall Mike in the third round. Interesting. Okay. So we are rebuilding our team here. Let's go ahead and generate this lineup here. Matthew Golden, 86 overall, superstar development, is wide receiver 1 listed here at the end of the season after the draft. Does look like Anthony Belton will be taking over at right tackle, giving our entire offensive line star development. So here we are at the start of 2026, which is next year's season. We're going to go ahead and keep auto-generated rookies. It does look like there are a lot of edges in this class just from what I'm looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just in the top 10 alone. So Rashawn Gary might be a cut player if we can't end up, bringing him back. I would rather trade some of our players this year to try to get a first-round pick just if we can, because this is the absolute best time to do it. All right, and here we are at the mid-season point, week 8. We are 2-4. We are not doing good in the passing department, but we are doing fantastic in the rushing department. What is going on? Why the sudden decline? We won 2 of the first 3 and then just went on a 3-game losing streak. So we have the Bears twice. We have the Vikings twice, and then I think the Lions we've already played. So we're already 0-2 in the division, which is never a good sign. Let's take a look. Leading the team in tackles for loss again, Micah Parsons, and in sacks, Micah Parsons. That is incredible. The Bengals don't want him for a first. Okay, so then maybe a second and a third next year. No, maybe a second and a fourth next year. Maybe if we toss in a 5th of our own, they'll definitely take that. Okay, so Isaiah McDuffie's no longer a Packer. We do get some draft picks out of it. Honestly, I'd rather let Dontavion go and try to bring back Elton Jenkins. But first, we have to bring back Jaden Reed. He definitely wants to come back, so we'll take him. I don't see us trading anybody else. So we'll go ahead and trade. We'll sim to the playoffs, and I'll see you guys there. We finished 6-11 on the year, which is unfortunately the last place position in the NFC North. But we do tie with Washington, the Rams, and the 49ers. We weren't the worst team in the NFC, which kind of helps out. Jordan Love, actually, player of the week in week 18. So after finishing 6-11, the Packers watch as the Detroit Lions go to face the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. Hopefully, the Ravens win. I'm a big fan in believing that I should not be rooting for other NFC North teams, regardless or not if we're eliminated from anything. That's just kind of how I am. Jordan Love did not have a good year throwing the ball. Not even a little bit. Josh Jacobs definitely led the team there in rushing yards. And the team did really good with passing touchdowns. Let's take a look. Tackles for loss. Rashawn Gary at 17. Micah at 10. But Micah at 18.5 sacks. That is crazy. I think that's a Packers record if I'm correct, right? I think in a season. Sacks. No, it's 19. It's close. So I was close. Our awards are where Micah wins Defensive Player of the Year again. Fantastic. We always like that. And he wins Best Defensive Lineman. Micah Parsons proving already that he is fantastic, and he is a great addition for this Packers rebuild. Although Jordan Love had an off year, I wonder if his thumb injury returned a couple years later. Genuinely, I think we only bring back Elton Jenkins for maybe 2 years. I don't see him being around long term. If anything, he's going to start regressing. Keyshawn's 30, so that he's definitely not going to be returning. We will take Carrington Valentine back. He is coming back as well. And unfortunately, Tucker Kraft will test free agency just because of the fact that he wants a lot of money. And it's not something that I'm comfortable in giving him unless he wants to come back. Now, Sam Laporta, on the other hand, is worth the pay. He is. If we really wanted to bring someone in to be what Tucker Kraft can be, it is definitely Sam Laporta. So I will definitely go ahead and put a good amount of money on Sam Laporta just to see if we can get him to Green Bay. And we do. Lions fans everywhere are going crazy as Jameson Williams goes to the Cardinals. Sam Laporta to the Packers. Wow. All right. That was a big-time free agency pickup. So here we are at the beginning of the second round. I didn't necessarily find any trades that I wanted to look for that seemed interesting to me. I know a lot of the defensive tackles kind of went off the board, especially the one that was supposed to go at 36. So we are looking for the second round players here. I will try to take the defensive tackle if I can grab him. I'm not going to trade up just a couple of spots for him. It's not something that I'm necessarily too crazy about as long as the Washington Commanders don't take him, and they don't. So we'll go ahead and take the defensive tackle because that is something that we need desperately. I always look for speed and strength over anything for defensive tackles, especially if I'm going to be playing like a Kenny Clark type situation right down the center. He is only normal dev, which kind of hurts, but we can put him as a weekly player just to kind of see if that's something that we can develop. Now, here at 26, I think we should take a corner, 86th overall player, but the stats itself as a physical player are fantastic. He is normal dev, but I mean, that's what happens when you trade your 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. You have to either trade up to grab someone good or take what you can get at the back end there. And we definitely took the back end because Micah is definitely showing that he is capable of being worth those picks. 74 overall defensive tackle, 71 overall corner, 73 overall tight end, although we just signed Laporta. So I'm not entirely sure about that. And then a 73 overall wide receiver to kind of fight with the other receivers for a starting spot. And here's a look at your 2027 Green Bay Packers. Matthew Golden up to a 90 overall. Josh Jacobs might be a trade target here just because he is going to start regressing. So we might have to start looking for a running back. But look at that. Collins ended up becoming a superstar along with Edgerrin Cooper and along with Rashawn Gary. We did end up taking the tight end. We moved him to fullback for now. Our second round draft pick Hickman as our D tackle. Collins, Cooper, and Gary all up to superstar. And our corners are really starting to become a problem here. I think if Jordan can have a great year where he's putting up at least 3,500 yards, this team is definitely capable of doing some crazy things. All right, so the Packers are an 87 overall, but they are 3-4 coming into the halfway point. Yet again, they are fighting with the Vikings for second place in the division, and the NFC North is always a competitive division in Madden. As you can see here, one team's 4-3, the rest are 3-4. There's always going to be something crazy going on in the North. We do have a lot of players that want to come back. This is where we're going to have to start selling some of the team to try to bring back some draft capital to the team. Edgerrin Cooper is definitely a player that I want back. He always ends up becoming a superstar X Factor. Even last year, he was just a phenomenal player. Javon Bullard and Xavier McKinney are probably trade targets. just because they will have some trade value along with Josh Jacobs. Rashawn Gary probably as well. He is regressing. I would take Jacobs back for a 1-year deal, which I don't know if he'd be interested in. He is. So Josh Jacobs will be back for a year. But we're going to trade Javon Bullard. Okay, so it'd have to be a second next year. All right. So there's our trade for Javon Bullard. Xavier McKinney, I am expecting a first-round pick for. There it is. So Xavier McKinney is going to the Buffalo Bills for a 2028 first and a 2029 third. They won't do a first, but they might do a second and a fourth. They do. All right. So we are getting draft picks back here and there. We're going to bring back Evan Williams for a year. He is back, so we won't have to worry about him. And we are going to have to find a right guard at the end of the season because I'm not bringing back former first-round pick Jordan Morgan out of U of A. All right, so it looks like we finished off the year 5-12. So honestly, it hasn't been going really well with the Packers, but Micah Parsons is up to 20 sacks in a season, 27 tackles for loss, which now means Micah Parsons is a Packers record holder. And we will see it here first. At the very bottom here, Micah Parsons, 20 sacks in a season. Clay Matthews is at 83 for his career. So the fact that there was a fourth of that just in this 1 year alone is mind-blowing. Let me find the draft picks that we have. We have the number 2 overall pick, number 24 from the Buffalo Bills, and 3 second-round picks. This is where I'm expecting us to kind of get a little crazy. Your Super Bowl is going to be the Los Angeles Rams versus the New York Jets. Interesting. 12-5 Jets, 10-7 Rams. And we're going to take a look at our Offensive Player of the Year in Brandon Ayuk and the rest of the awards. Micah Parsons wins back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. He also wins back-to-back Best Defensive Lineman. And Max Melton wins Best Defensive Back. Interesting. Okay. But with the number 2 pick, we actually end up with number 3. All right, so 2 left tackles go off the board at 1 and 2. Jordan Love is definitely not on the chopping block. We do have a draft pick here with elite acceleration and decent speed. He is kind of slow. Is he? Oh, he's a power back. I try to avoid power backs at all costs. I mean, there's a top 5 defensive tackle, which I guess we'll go with. I mean, he was ranked 39th. Okay, dude. But he's the number 1 tackle on the board. And then we're going to go with a deep threat wide receiver. Number 21. There you go. See, I do know how to draft. So with our first 5 picks, we got 74, 76, 75, 76, 75. Right there, we already replaced both of our safeties with new and upcoming players. We got ourselves another wide receiver, and then we got ourselves a defensive tackle right down the center. It just took a little while to bring back some team chemistry into the overall build here just because of the amount of draft picks that we had to get rid of. Micah is still a 99 overall. He's only in his 8th year. Here are your Green Bay Packers for the upcoming year. Our safeties, I was really hoping both of them were going to be hidden development, but it looks like only one is. Our last year defensive tackle moved up to star. Our new one is a hidden development. And we do have some corners. I'm not too worried about that at this exact moment. Defense looks good. I do wish that we had another right edge to pair with Micah Parsons. So that might be something that we look at trading for. At the halfway point, we are 5-2, and Justin Fields, by the way, is a Super Bowl champion. Let that sink in. Josh Jacobs in second place in rushing yards. Micah in third place for sacks, behind both of the Pittsburgh edges. Interesting. We'll go ahead and give him 5 years. That should bring him back. Apparently does not. Matthew Golden for sure is coming back. Matthew Golden is back. Zach Tom probably wants to come back. And I think, honestly, we trade Josh Jacobs out of here. And there's the edge that we were asking for. We'll pair him on the other side of Micah Parsons. We're going to trade... we're not going to trade a lot of people this year. We're just going to kind of rebuild fully, see if we can make a Super Bowl push since we are 5-2. I know trading away starting running back probably isn't the best way to do that. All right, so here's our updated defense. I do see Murphy down here at the bottom. He was just a little too low in overall for me to even try to consider putting him in. But we do have a great defense, 85 defense, 87 overall offense. Micah Parsons is definitely leading the team in the right direction here. And we're going to make a push to the Super Bowl. After starting the year 5-2, the Packers then win 3 of their next 10, going 8-9 to finish the year off, missing the playoffs yet again. And we have a new tackle for loss leader in Chris Carnegie, but Micah right behind him in a bunch of sacks this year. 21 between the two of Wilkins and Parsons. And then you're adding in Carnegie and Owe for them, bringing it up to about 30. No Packers for any yearly awards, but we do have a Super Bowl rematch from years prior to the Chiefs and Eagles. And Jordan Love does not want to be back. $75 million. I guess we're going to have to go into free agency and compete with some other teams because I don't want to franchise tag him for $75 million. So Jordan Love is going to be our first primary target. I'll dump the house, but I was trying to avoid that. So we're looking at 6 years, $342 million. That doesn't even look like he wants to come back to begin with. But he is back. He just needed to hold out for some money. He definitely won on that. He got his money's worth. I don't think I've seen a more stacked defense in recent Madden years that I have put together. Our offensive line has just collapsed. We've been focusing so much on defense in these drafts that just there's nobody on offense. Micah Parsons does want to be back, and he will. We will want to bring back our stud Sam. He honestly doesn't want a lot of money, which is a little interesting. I know he's only an 83 overall, but that X factor is definitely worth bringing him back. Then we do have a couple of other players here. Since it's the last year of the rebuild, I'm not necessarily going to focus on them too much. I will upgrade all the players here for the final year just to see if we can make one final push to the playoffs. But it seems like as well as Micah Parsons has been doing, looks like the Packers really haven't made the playoffs since he joined. I'm assuming the Packers ended up not doing too well. The Vikings ended up winning the division. And the Packers ended up going 6-11. Let's take a look at the Packers' final record here. Jordan Love does everything in his power to try to come back. 16 touchdowns for 2 interceptions. Might have been his best career year had he been playing all year. Wide receivers all the way around the room look like that they did great. We let up a lot of sacks, though. A lot of sacks. Tackle for loss, Micah Parsons. Sack leader, Micah Parsons. So it looks like even with Micah Parsons, it might not be just enough to win the Super Bowl.